So the reason I asked, I spent years, my name is Ivan, work with Real Content Solutions, and I'm going to introduce everybody here in a second, but I spent years as a math teacher, and there were classes that were easy to teach. One easy class was teaching gifted and talented, super highly functioning, differential, all that stuff. It was easy. Why? Because everybody in the room was on the same level, right? And I also taught remedial classes. I actually taught an alternative school for years where I had to be trained in order to restrain children, right? So really, at the other side of the spectrum, that was easy to do too. The hardest class is when everybody was in the same room, right? So that's kind of difficult today because I don't know where everybody's at with Ads Manager, right? You could be somewhere like where I'm at, where I'm presenting this class, yet I'm not the guru. I'm not the brilliant Ads Manager guy. These guys are, right? So I'm just the presenter, okay? So you could be on that end of the spectrum, or this stuff, a lot of it may be a review for you, but we're going to kind of assume that you haven't spent a whole lot of time in Ads Manager. And even if you have, the purpose of this class is to learn how to target your clientele. So essentially, it's a social media class, but we're going to call it social media targeting, right? So before we get started, if you guys will do this, go ahead and log into Facebook and get set up to where we're ready to dive in and actually have a little workshop. If you have any questions with logging in, Kaysen's here. Just raise your hand and Kaysen will come help you out. So.
Yeah, and these instructions are specific to a computer, so I'm not sure how they translate to the app on the phone, but I'm sure Kaysen can figure it out. You should be able to get to at least most of the pages we're going to, because we're just showing you how to build the audience. So it's probably going to be easier for you to end up doing it on your computer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you have Facebook audience for your ad.
And explore.
Yeah.
What is this right here?
My own screen.
There you go.
Like this? Oh, you're a genius.
Genius. Yeah. I just press a bunch of buttons until something works. It always works. So, all right. So we have Kylie Mulgraf, who's actually our operations manager and social media coordinator for Real Content Solutions. Kaysen, who's also a social media coordinator. In fact, he manages some of our clients that have literally hundreds of thousands of followers. So, and they entrust Kaysen, which is great. And Chris, who a lot of you know because Chris does videography work for us and is essentially our creative director, right, for creating content. So a little quick background to what we're about to talk about. We create content. That is what when we first started the business, it was about making pretty videos. It was about writing engaging blogs and delivering and taking photography and sending that to our clients. But very quickly, we found that our clients may or may not have known exactly what to do with that content. So a lot of times they would have these great pieces, but then not be able to get it in front of their target clientele. Or maybe they would put it on Facebook and they would boost a post and it would land in a bunch of different inboxes, right? But again, they were spending dollars for people to see videos. They were spending dollars for people to read blogs, but it wasn't a focused attack on their individual client. They didn't have a plan to lead people to the website or to just increase engagement or just to increase page likes. They didn't go through that process of thinking what they would do with the content. So we got into the content delivery side of marketing as well. And then essentially now we just do it all. We do it all. So not sure where you're at, but we'll see as we go here. So I also want to go very, very fast for the first 10 minutes, so I quit talking and we actually kind of go through the process here together. So I'll try to stay on the script. So first of all, let me ask a question, because this came up in another class that I was in recently. We want to use Ads Manager because Ads Manager is a powerful tool. But do you guys know the difference between just boosting a post and actually running an ad, posting an ad in Facebook?
Yes. I have.
You do? You're not sure? Okay. Essentially, they're very similar. But there's a difference. So you can actually create an audience and spend money on both. Facebook will give you the opportunity to spend money, whether you're boosting a post or creating an ad. The difference is with Ad Manager, you can specifically tell Facebook your goals. So a few of the things that you can do with Ad Manager, you can be very specific and detailed as to what Facebook is charging you for, right? Rather than just boosting a post. You can also, you can delineate the type of engagement you want to get from that post, whether it be likes or calls to action. Or you can also predict or tell Facebook what stats you would like to track in advance of actually sending the ad, which is great. And you can build your ad from the ground up. So rather than just having a post already on your page, and then you want to boost it, we can actually build our ad from start to finish, have that ad ready, and then send it out through Ad Manager. It's a very powerful tool. And there's another feature of Ad Manager that is actually we're going to work on today that's going to help us build our target audience. That's not available when you just boost a post. So, and here's another. So, a year ago, if you'd have asked me, I would have said, well, it's fine either way. You can use Ads Manager, Power Editor, or you can just boost a post. That's fine, depending on what you're trying to do. And if you're not using a sniper rifle, if you're just trying to get a bunch of engagement, then just boost your post. However, there's no downfall to using Ads Manager at all. Some people say, well, isn't that off page? If you do Ads Manager, it's not on your page. Well, as soon as you finish your ad, you can always publish that ad on your page, right? So it exists everywhere. So what I would encourage you to do is use Ads Manager. We're going to talk about it today, and there's really no reason to ever boost a post again. So, unless you want to. So I did some quick research on 5 Facebook ad targeting tips, and a few things came up. One is, if you want great engagement, you deliver ads to your customers first, right? So you could actually import all your contacts into a CSV file, and you could create a custom audience for yourself in Ads Manager, or you can in Facebook in general, and you can boost a post to it. That's fine. Great engagement, and we're not going to talk about that today. Or you can just serve ads to your fans. You'll see this show up. You're actually sending ads to people that have liked your page. You can do that as well. Now, there was a great class that was actually I went to 3 weeks ago. Cherry Creek Mortgage put it on, and Hayden Simmerly with First American Title. Great American Title, that's right. Did a great job of going through and showing you an overview of Ads Manager and how to import CSV files with your client list and how to target people that have liked your page. And if you are on that email list, I'm sure Hayden will share that with me. I'll make sure you get that because it's a fantastic presentation, right? It's not like we did today. It was actually screenshots of him going through the exact process of what buttons to press. You'll get that from us today, but we're going to work through it together, okay? So we can make sure you get that in your hands. Number 3 on advertising tips would be create ads. Spend less time boosting posts and use Facebook's self-serve ad tool to run your promotions. I love it. That's what we're talking about, right? So also use audience insights to nail down your target demographic. We're going to do that today too. So, all right, the goal is, of course, to focus on who we're targeting with our ad campaigns. We want to make sure we reach the avid part of our market. So, by the way, real quick, who has not, raise your hand if you have not spent time in Ads Manager at all. Okay, that's all right. It's okay. So even if, okay, let me ask you another question then. Have you ever created a page for yourself that can be liked or for your business? Do you have a business page that's separate from your personal page? Does anybody not have a business page separate from your personal page? Just started one. Okay, that's okay. The point being is this, even if you haven't, you can still go through this process today and create a page later. You can create an ad and then run it later, no problem. So, all right. All right. Has everybody gotten this far, by the way? Logged into Facebook? And Kylie, go ahead and do that.
Yep.
We'll do it on our end too.
So I'm just on the home screen. I'm going to go to this drop-down arrow over here. Is there a lag? Create ads.
It's a little different on a phone, but still all this is accessible.
And then we're in Ads Manager.
Okay.
And then we're going to go to up here to the menu and click Audience Insights.
Ads Manager, right?
Mm-hmm.
See it.
You're in there.
And if you're not, if
So
you're
now
falling
click
behind,
up
just
here
raise your hand
in
in
Ads
case we can
Manager.
come to you and help.
And then you can click on Audience Insights.
It says registration.
I'm going to do it one more time.
Yeah.
So I'm over here, drop-down arrow.
And again, we're recording all this, so you can go back and look at it later.
In this menu, Audience Insights.
Now, I highly encourage you to, as we go through here and we're going to target an audience for an ad that we want to run, I highly encourage you to devote time to this Devote time to picking exactly who's your audience. It does work. I actually gave an example at the last training class, the Cherry Creek Mortgage class, of an artist that we work with, Corey Morrow, who was playing. He's a Texas country music artist who was playing in California. And we were doing a tour along the California coast. We were playing at a winery. It's Tooth and Nail Winery. I don't even remember what city it was. But we weren't getting any ticket sales, none, right? And we're trying all the typical, let's search our age demographic. Let's search people that like country music. Let's search people that have any sort of affiliation with Texas, right? And of course, we're doing the geographic, right? We're going to geofence a certain area and pick that as, So we're sending out posts, we're sending out promo videos, nothing's happening. We're getting no movement. I mean, no movement to the, 7 tickets sold. And I get it, right? He's a Texas artist, no one knows who he is out there. So then we had the idea, well, let's target people who have liked other Texas colleges, right? A&M, UT, Texas Tech, University of Houston, right? And so we did that, and it's a true story. We had that place sold out in 3 days. Sold out. And no other marketing. We didn't do any radio, we just did Facebook marketing. So we were able to fine tune who our audience was, find a way to get to our audience, and it absolutely does work, right? The trick is you may have to create an audience, and then you'll test that audience, and it may or may not work. Now, by the way, those first 2 things I mentioned, your database and creating a custom audience, absolutely. You should and must do that because you'll get the biggest engagement. Number 2, people that have liked your page, you should and must do that because you will get tons of engagement. However, neither one of those are going out and reaching other people that don't already know who you are, right? So that's what we're working on today. All right. It's funny, so quote, experts say, when setting up an ad campaign, the most important piece is creating your audience. So we'll go from there. The good news is Facebook has made this really easy for us. They've made it easy by aggregating all this data that we give them because of what we look at and what we view and what we like, right? That's not just on Facebook either. So when you go to websites, nearly every website, probably multiple pages of every website have a Facebook pixel, right, embedded in the code. And that Facebook pixel is tracking your data too. Where do you like to visit? Where do you like to go? Now, that sounds a little bit creepy. It is a little bit creepy. They're also listening to us, which is interesting. But it's a great tool that we can use in order to reach our audience. So, before I do want to dive into this, but I do want to mention this because I said it earlier. If you just target people by age, gender, and income, let's say, right? By the way, income's going to go away, right? And even ways to find people based on their income is going to go away in August?
I think August.
Okay. Because if you don't know, Facebook's in a lot of trouble for, anyway. So that's a different conversation for a different time. But the problem is that's not specific enough, probably, to reach the people that you want to reach. If you're spending dollars anyways, if you're spending dollars with Facebook, they're going to be really, really good about making sure whatever you're pushing out, whatever ad you're pushing out is going to reach people, right? So that's great. The problem is you're not getting a good bang for the buck if you're reaching a bunch of people that are interested in your product or service, that don't share interests that would basically match up with people that are wanting to see your ad or that should see your ad's interest. So, all right, let's get started.
You want to show them the video real quick?
Yeah, so we're actually going to post an ad, right? Here's an ad, and I hope the audio works out.
We will see.
Here's what we want to push out.
Our home is where our life happens. You know, our home is our retreat. It's where we raise our kids. We entertain friends and family. And I think that our environment just really affects our mood and how we feel. And it might as well be beautiful. You know, if you can have the choice to live in a beautiful home, why wouldn't you?
Okay, short, 30 seconds. Designed to be short so that we can actually put it on Facebook and keep people's attention. But you see what we want to present, right? So this client is an interior designer. Now, by the way, we would have picked a real estate ad and built a real estate audience, but then we would be here all day long, right? And I'm not engaging enough, and they're not serving beer, and the food's gone, so you guys aren't going to stick around. I'll stay here all day, but so we're just going to give you an example as we go through. But don't think that you can't do research and start playing around and creating your own custom audience as we go through. So, all right. So back to Facebook. All right, did you click on page likes or was that already up?
No, I clicked on page likes.
Okay, so let's click on page likes. If everybody's here on Audience Insights. There you go. That's good. That's good. Now, focus on this box down here called Interests. On the left-hand side.
Interest, okay.
Yep. Okay. So keep in mind, we're not building an audience right now. We're just doing research. We're going to build an audience in a minute. All right. So let's try some things. Since we're Keller Williams, let's try interest is home buying. See what shows up.
So it's important to realize that only about 50% of things that you are going to want to target are going to show up in this box. Not everything is available to target. So you kind of have to play around with the wording sometimes if you don't know specifically what it's going to be called on Facebook. So home buying didn't come up with anything. But when I type buying a home, well, buying a house, there we go. See, so you just kind of have to play around with it. And so now that's one of my interests. Now, this particular market is too small, which is why you're getting these error messages here. And if you hover over, Facebook will tell you exactly
Facebook's
what
not
I'm
giving
telling
you
you.
any information about page likes for the search buying a home, right? Okay, now let's try Keller Williams. Type in Keller Williams. Yeah.
Interest.
All right, there we go. So with Keller Williams, you know, it says Facebook pages that are likely to be relevant to your audience based on Facebook page likes. All right, so this affinity, and on Facebook too, like go ahead and hover over the eye. This tells you what each column is. So there's information about the content you're going through here. So how likely your audience is to like a given page compared to everyone on Facebook. All right? So affinity is 43 times more likely, right? Now, we're looking for connections here, right? So can you see where Zillow and Keller Williams would be connected, right? And it goes on down the list. What this is actually doing, this is just a quick example to show you that what we're trying to do is come up with interests that we can target when we make our ad. And we're using this interest tab right now during our research process to come up with some ideas, all right? So we're gonna make an ad here in about 5 minutes, but let's research. So the first thing I wanna do is, we got this nice little content piece we wanna push out for Duckworth Interiors. We're an interior designer. You have that sheet that has the questions on it in front of you. And these are suggestions for your research, right? This is basically direction for your research to help find your target audience and to narrow it down. So the first question is, that's right. So who are the authority figures, thought leaders, or big brands in your niche? So we're doing interior design, so there's all kinds of tools you can use, and I'll get to other examples here quickly, but we're going to use Google, all right? We're going to use Google. And let's search top interior designers. Tell them why you did United States.
I'm going to do United States because with interior design, a lot of the top ones aren't in the United States, and we want to stay relevant to where we're targeting. So first couple of results are always going to be ads, so make sure you scroll past those. And we're going to go with the Lux Deco list here, the top 10 American interior designers.
I trust Lux Deco, so let's see what they have to say. Just looking for ideas for targeting. So Michael Smith, nah, not a big fan. Definitely love Kelly Wersler. So what we're going to do is, right, we're going to take Kelly Wersler, and we're going to put her in interest and see what other affinities we can come up with for Kelly. Oh, you know what I was going to have you do first?
The location.
Okay, before we do this, we're actually going to put a location into our search just to show you how this can be limiting at this point. So we're going to put a location in the United States, and then we're going to put in Kelly Wersler, and notice nothing's happening for us, right? There's no tie-ins to Kelly in Houston, Texas. No problem. Let's
Well, and
eliminate.
there are. It's just not enough for Facebook
It's not enough for
to give us the
Facebook.
data
That's
that we
right.
want. So don't worry about location right now. Like Ivan was saying, we're just going to be doing the research, so we're not zeroing in
We'll
quite
go through
yet.
location. We make an ad here shortly. All right, so Kelly Wersler, if I go down, hey, page likes. Do I see anything here that I also like? Well, I'm not a big fan of Schumacher designs. I am of Kravitz. And by the way, you can click on these and see. You can actually click and it'll take you to their pages and you can see
Yeah, so you might not be sure what all of these pages are. You can always just click the link and then go to About.
Is this a potential interest for my
Find out
target
what the
client?
business is.
You're saying you are a fan because it's a potential interest for a target?
It is a potential interest, and just because me as an interior designer, now you know your audience, right? I know that there's tie-ins here, right? That's a great idea. Here's the thing. You may consider yourself an expert, and if you've been in this industry for 40 years, you probably are. If you've been in this industry for a year, you probably are. But here's the thing. There's probably other ideas, right, and other interests that you're not thinking of that could help you fine-tune your audience. So math major, I was going to save this for later, but think about a Venn diagram, right? The circles. And you're looking for where they cross. You'll see as we go through this, there will be a lot of places where these things cross, right? So we want to fine-tune our audience so that our bang for the buck, our dollar is going to push an ad to the right people, right? So, Cravat, you picked Cravat as one of our interests. So what's happening is, basically, as we go through this, Kylie's just writing these things down, right? Keeping another sheet of, these are interests I want to apply when I build my ad here shortly. So, what else? What's next? Interior designers, let's try, Miles Red looks awesome. My kind of style. That kind of matches what Duckworth had, so let's see what happens.
Making sure to only do one at a time, right?
We'll get to that
Yes.
too. Yeah, start one at a time. Start one at a
Yeah,
time.
so that's a good point. As you know, earlier I had Kelly Worstler up here, and I actually took her off the list before I typed in my next one, because otherwise it's just narrowing it down even further. And we're not doing that yet. We're just doing the research.
We're going to narrow it down when we actually build the ad, but right now we're just doing research, so we don't want to wipe out potentials because we're saying and, right? So we're still in the or phase. We're looking at Miles Red or Kelly Worstler. So.
And remember how I said only 50% of things are available to target, typically. So Miles Red is one of those things.
Not available. Okay.
And then last we were going to do
Nate, yep,
Burkus.
that looks like our type of design.
Okay, so it looks like there's some other names here. If you're not sure who these
Okay.
people are, you can click through.
Quentin Kelly. You guys should recognize this guy. What not to wear. Is that going to help us right now? I mean, that's probably not going to help us. Okay. As opposed to Nate Burkus, who's an interior designer that has a style similar to what we're trying to present, right? So people that like Nate Burkus are probably going to be interested in what we have to offer. Okay. So so that gives you an idea of some of the research. I did go under Nate real quick. Let's look at him.
Yeah.
And let's look at these page likes and affinities and see what we can. Okay. So my designer shops at Crate and Barrel a lot. Great idea. We should probably add that to our list. West Elm, not so much. They got some bad reviews. Yeah.
This might be getting ahead of ourselves, but so is this saying that the person actually likes Crate and Barrel, or that they're just likely?
They're more likely to.
So we're still targeting people who don't specifically like it, but they are likely to.
They're inclined to. Yeah, they are, and based on this, they are 3,940. Well, that's easy because that's actually Nate, right? But go down to Crate and Barrel. They're 207 times, right? More likely, based on Facebook's data, right? To like Nate, right? So if that crosses over those Venn diagrams, that crosses over something that I'm offering, right? Then maybe that's what I want to put as one of my interests. So, and yes, that'll be cleared up when we go to Ads Manager because we're actually going to make an ad.
People that like Nate are 207 more times for like Crate and Barrel.
That's right.
Because we're
That's
looking
right.
at these that like Nate right now.
That's right. That's right. Yep. And Nate's design's similar to ours, and I use Crate and Barrel, so all this is doing is giving me ideas. When I put interests in, when I build my ad, let's go ahead and put Crate and Barrel in too. I didn't think about that. Right? Let's see. You mentioned that. That's good. Let's do the second question. Let's look up. I like the events, but what books, magazines, and newspapers does your ideal client read?
Oops. Okay, we're gonna do this.
By the way, it's a good idea to use
rabbit
top
here.
interior design, top, because but what will happen is Google will, especially if you're searching in Google, we tried it in Yahoo, it doesn't, but Google will actually put these in a list for you if you use top. So, in fact, they do it for best now too, and they used to not. So if you were to search best interior designers, right? So now they'll give you that big long list with all the pictures right there at the top, right? It used to be the only word for top, but top always works. So top's a great search tool.
And top and best are both just popular titles for, trusted blogs and resources that you're going to be looking at to get that list of,
That's right.
of ideas. So we're going to go with this one. We got architectural design
Digest.
digest.
See what we see here.
So we got a couple different versions of that
Hey,
there.
I subscribe to House and Home. Let's check that out. Maybe that's one I want to add to my interests.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anything else?
Flux interiors and design.
I know that's really popular, so we'll add that one too. So all I'm doing now is we're keeping track of interests. Keeping track of interests, that's it.
Right, and so I'm not doing this on the screen, but beforehand I created a list of everything that we're saying, oh yeah, that will work. So you're writing that down on the side because you're saving that for when you do build your audience later.
Okay, so let's keep rolling because I want to get to the ad. So let's look at events. So the third question is, what events do they attend?
So I'm going to do
design
conferences because that's typically what they're called with this industry, and I'm going to do 2018 as well to keep it relevant.
Now, this is, Parker, to your point, I may or may not be interested in a particular, I may not necessarily want to, at this point, target people that went to a specific conference, right? What this research does is just open up ideas. Let me put that into Facebook and see what other affinities are available, right? So what happened here when we did this yesterday is it popped up ASID. Now, obviously, you guys all know ASID. If I'm promoting something for an interior designer, I should have put that in right off the bat, right? But I didn't think about it. I didn't think about it right away, right? So now I am, but here's what's great. Let's go ahead and put that in Facebook and see what other affinities we find because we put in ASID. Is there anything else? Hey, look at this. There's Cravat again. All right, so, and we also like Arterior's Home, right? So when you start seeing these things pop up multiple times, it's like, okay, I'm coming from 4 different questions, 4 different pieces of research, and I keep finding these same things pop up, right? That's probably going to be my target audience. Those are interests that my target audience is going to be interested in. So.
One more time, definitive means what? One more time, the word definitive.
Okay, so the technical hover over it because that's the likelihood that people that that are interested in American Society of Interior Designers, or ASID, right? That's the likelihood that they're going to be interested in these, right? So scroll down a little bit. So like Cravat, right, which is one of my suppliers, they're 6,852 times more likely, right, to be interested in things that have a common affinity with ASID. So their technical definition is, hover over that just so, and the reason I'm doing this is you can, anywhere on here, relevance, everything, right? That's just basically the ranking. You can hover over and they'll tell you exactly what. So because when you're going through this, I want you to use all these tools, right? And as we actually create an ad, the same thing's available. So Facebook does a great job, Kason said this earlier today, does a great job of walking you through the process, right? We just want you to start the process. Just give it a shot, right? So, okay. So Cravat, hey, that's great. Let's try Interior Design Showcase 2018. Just see what pops up. What's going on in the area? So in the area, so let's do Houston. Southern Living, Houston Design Center. Maybe I want to search Houston Design Center, right? And come up with other, because obviously if people are interested in Houston Design Center or some of the offerings that are there, they're probably interested in interior design, which means they could be building a house, which means they may want my services. So, okay, so you guys get the point. All this is research, right? All this is research. If you go through the questions like what websites, when you're looking at websites too, look for blogs. Blogs have a very, very important social component in that people will follow blogs, right? So if I'm doing interior design and there's an interior design blog that's out there and a lot of people are following that blog, then those are probably people that I want to target to, right? If they're interested in that blog or that website. And a lot of people, wisely so, use blogs to draw traffic to the website. So oftentimes a third of the traffic that we have for all of our clients comes from our blog activity. So it's
And
great.
that is true for the work that you do for us
Mhm.
as well.
Absolutely. Yep. In fact, we just had a blog recently, like
Here.
500 hits to the website this month. Yeah, because we did the microbreweries blog, whatever. So that's a different target, though. For us, for Keller Williams, we're just trying to spread the net wide in the community, right? So we look like the trusted resource for information, and we get people to land on our page. So, all right. So where they live, that's another one. You can specify by city, state, town, all that stuff, and we'll talk about that when we build the ad. When we get down to that, what tools do they use? We were doing this example in our office, and the other thing is don't just use Google, but ask people around you, right? So, I mean, obviously for us, I mean, in this room, you know, maybe we do HAR, maybe we do Trulia, but for interior design, someone just said, well, Pinterest. That feels pretty general, doesn't it, Pinterest? Well, let's do it. Let's see what happens when we pull up Pinterest. Because Pinterest can be everything from selling a Jeep to, you know, flowers to our kids.
Yeah, so pretty general there.
It's pretty general, that's right. And so even the affinities aren't, right? The affinities are kind of loose. So what we're going to do is let's do Pinterest plus HDTV.
Oh, I did interior design.
That's fine. That's
But-
fine too.
Oh, were you just pointing it? Yeah. So now it's targeting people that like Pinterest and interior design, not just
So that's back to your
Pinterest.
question. You can do an and, right?
And you could do like house in there too, right?
Absolutely, you could. Yep.
It's kind of fun to play around once you start getting all those
Right,
different
connections.
markets in your mind.
But keep in mind, as soon as you do and, you're really limiting, and we're just researching here, right? We haven't created the ad yet. When we're creating the ad, we want to be very specific. But right now we're researching. If you have all these interests in there at once, you could be limiting the potential to hit a particular affinity or interest that you may want to use on your ad. So
That's why you're going one by one.
that's why we're going one by one.
Yeah.
We're about to create the ad. In fact, we're going to do that now, and we're not going to go one by one. We're going to put all these things that we discovered during the discovery process into our ad. So let's do it. Let's create an ad.
All right, so I'm going to go back up to this menu here,
And go
Audience
slow here.
Insights.
Yeah, audio and insights.
And under Create and Manage, I'm going to click Ads Manager. Okay, so you can see I have nothing here. Haven't created anything. I'm going to click this green Create button and get started.
Okay. Let's talk about some of this. So let's go over to awareness real quick. Go to brand awareness.
Okay.
Once again, you'll see the little I for information. So it says increase awareness for your brand by reaching people who are more likely to be interested in it. So these are all objectives. Remember we talked about when you go through Ads Manager, you can actually tell Facebook what your objective is, right? So what's our objective here? Well, our objective basically is we want to create traffic, right? And if you're just getting started, just create traffic, right? Create traffic. If you've been doing this for a while and you're specifically have a call to action, or you specifically are trying to generate a lead, you can do all that here. And this is all stuff that you can just play with, and the more advanced you get with this, then you can select different campaigns and see what works for you and what doesn't. And a lot of times it's specific to the post that you're trying to send out. So, all right, so
If you do choose traffic as your goal, you need to have a link to go with your ad because the goal is going to be to get people to click through to that link.
and that's what we picked.
always keep that
So
in
the
mind.
video that we showed you, we want to draw people to the client's website, right? So we're going to pick traffic for ours. Engagement is great too, but be careful. If you do engagement, you might get a lot of likes and shares on your post. But if the whole goal is to get people to land on your website where you have calls to action, right? You might have missed the boat. And we've had ads that we ran and like, oh, it's fantastic. We had 1,200 people share this post, right? And we had 4 link clicks, 4 people landed on the website. So they shared the post with each other, but we didn't get any action, all right? So that may have been the goal. That may have been your goal, right? Just to increase awareness, that's fine. Or to send out a funny Texas meme for our Texas artists, that's great, right? But those people are probably not going to click through and see where the shows are at. Those people are not going to probably click through and if they're interested in interior design. So we're going to focus on traffic. All right, let's go in. Okay, so now we're just naming the ad set.
And I'm gonna leave it on website because we're gonna send people to the Duckworth contact form. Basically, is what we're going with here.
Which means we'll have to input the link.
Oops. And while we're building our audience, we're gonna be looking over here at this little audience size section. It's gonna continue to change the more things that we enter in there. And especially the first time that you're creating an audience, it's important to see how those numbers go up and down the more or less that you enter.
Can you scroll down? Okay, you don't have an ad account yet. That's okay. That's okay. So we were going through, if she doesn't have an ad account yet, that's fine, right? So how does she get past that screen?
Right, what's the screen?
And here's the thing, keep in mind we're recording the screens so you can go through and do this. if you
Traffic,
want.
and then it gives me set up there.
And then set up ad account. It should just take you right to, and you can leave all of that the same. That's just time zone and currency.
Continue.
I didn't get that page for some reason. I did get it last time, but maybe.
We just set up this account for this class. All right. Website. All right. So at this point, let's talk through the audience part here. You can use a saved audience if you've created an audience before, and we're going to save an audience here in a minute. So you see how easy that is. Go ahead and click on that.
I know everyone got that.
Yeah, so this is where all of my previously used audiences would
That's
be.
right. That's right.
And this is where your audience will be as soon as you save it today.
That's right.
If you got set up ad account at the bottom of your thing, you can navigate past that. It would be right here. She already has her ad account set up. If you don't have an ad account set up, it's going to ask you for your credit card information, things like that. You can skip that by using this sidebar and just click add set, and it should take you past that.
Because you can always go back and set that up later.
Right.
You can create audiences all day, right? Create your ads, have them ready, and then set up your ad account. Again, even if you don't even have a page to post it to yet. So, a business page. Okay, so we're going to create a new audience. And I'll get back to this.
And for now, we're going to skip over this first section. We're going to come back to it, but that's going to narrow down our results a lot. So we're going to go straight to detailed targeting and enter what we
Scroll
just.
back up a little bit. So, so custom audiences, that's what I was talking about earlier, right? That's where you can import a custom audience from your contacts, or you can basically target people that like your page. But we're creating a brand new audience here. So we'll skip location for now. We'll talk about that shortly. Age, we'll talk about that. Gender, all. Language, we'll talk about that.
I just want to clarify too, because Facebook is kind of confusing with this. So we're creating a saved audience, even though you would think it's also called a custom audience. Custom audience just means that it's from a particular file or pixel or something installed in your website, which is all great. We're just not doing that today.
That's right.
I'm sorry, what we are creating?
We're creating a saved audience,
Saved
and that's the
audience,
lingo
okay.
that they use throughout. So if that comes up.
So for one of my accounts, every week I set up an ad for recipes. And so we boost these recipes to a certain audience. And so the saved audience allows me to basically create my ad, just click the saved audience, and I'm done already.
Mm-hmm.
So every single week when I go ready to do that, it's sitting there ready for me.
That's right. So for you, you may have an audience. You may have your buy audience. You may have your sell audience, for example, right? So, yes, sir.
I know we're focusing on the mechanics of doing targeting, and this is a very flexible tool. But I know that there are also some laws against, restricting the people, at least in the real estate business, where you're targeting some but not others. There are some laws.
Sure.
I just had some concerns about that by using this for real estate portion of.
I get that, and two, we kind of touched on this earlier too. For us in real estate, it may be maybe we want to target income level, right? And that's a no-no, right? Right now, we can actually target home value. You can target people by their home value, right? That's going to go away, right? That's going to go away. So some of these tools right now, you may have ideas of how you target your audience, and Facebook is having to clean their act up a little bit, right? So, but that's for everybody, not just realtors. They want to make sure that people aren't excluded, right? So There are exclusions, right? But it can't be an exclusion based on, help me out, based on income level
Fair
or
housing.
ethnicity
Fair
or,
housing criteria.
yeah. So you will be blocked if you try to do that. So.
In the end, you're not. This isn't really excluding people. It's including people who have this certain interest, and so it's targeting people who have an interest. You can select exclude people there.
That's right. We'll click that in a second. But
yeah.
yeah.
But
well, I mean, for example, you don't want to send an ad and pay for ads to other realtors,
right.
right? I mean, that would be a waste. Could you do exclusion for that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. Mhm.
So those are the kind of things I think you would exclude.
And that's not something based on income level or socioeconomic status or ethnicity or any, okay, so that's okay. By the way, we've had ads get kicked. So sometimes you try to post the ad, they will reject you. So
But they'll always tell you why. So you
they always tell me, well, unless it's a Christmas ad. All my Christmas ads got nuked, and I don't know why.
Really?
So yes, so we had to change the verbiage. Then it may, or sometimes we would just resubmit them and they would go through. It depends on who the reviewer is, right? That's it.
It's
So.
really bad when you write a blog. You spend an hour and a half writing a blog about Christmas, and then you go to boost it, and they're like, oh, nope.
Yeah, can't do it. So, so you will run into stuff like that, and that's fine. Just find a way around. There's always a way around, and I understand it's not perfect, but Facebook is a great tool, right? I mean, this is completely different than putting an ad in Community Impact and hoping the right people sees it, you know, and that's expensive. Where you can do a $100 boost on a video and get maximum engagement with exactly who you want to see that video. So, okay. Let's keep going. You want to pick some of these?
Yep. Start with Kelly.
Yeah, let's start with Kelly. So now we're down to the detailed targeting. So we're going to put some of these terms that we came up with and people we came up with and ideas we came up with in Audience Insights.
So you see how this number over here immediately changed as soon as I entered that. That's going to continue to go up as we add all these interests. I did already create the audience we're using today, so I'm not going to be doing all of the ones we just researched, but you'll get the idea when you see these numbers over here change.
And you'll see these estimated daily results too.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, these are daily results, so just keep that in mind. We haven't even told Facebook how long we want to run this ad for. So we're really looking at the potential reach and how broad our audience is at this time.
How are you charged? By the number of people reached or what?
This number is the potential reach. So it's what Facebook is assuming that it's going to be able to reach based on this interest.
And how are we charged? By the number of people reached?
It depends on the goal that you choose. We're going to choose to be charged per link click. And so that's how Facebook will distribute your money.
Is it like $1 link or something like that?
Hopefully not.
Yeah, that's not.
No, what is it more?
It depends on how much you're spending, and also how big
And
the
how
audience
fine-tuned
is.
you're targeting.
Yeah.
So.
So.
What's the average price?
You can do a count though, right?
Absolutely.
I would say, like,
you do a cap. Yeah.
I mean, on our ads that do well, it's 3 to 7 cents per
Mm-hmm.
result. Yeah.
For link click or
We typically do link click. So for engagement, I'm not sure what.
We
what
build
it would-
websites. We're trying
probably
to draw
less.
people to the site, right? So that's kind of what, you know. Same thing with YouTube. YouTube's great, actually, by the way, if you guys are doing ads. It is a very inexpensive way to get a lot of engagement. And it's a video, which is more engaging than anything else. So you can geofence an area. You can use a lot of the same target demographics that you can in Facebook. And we've had people where the full video views, as opposed to like doing a Google ad campaign, full video views, we were paying 7 cents. So now, and that's not skip ad, right? You know, you see the first 5 and you skip the ad, right? It doesn't count those. So, so that's pretty good engagement.
Set budget, so that.
You can set the budget. That's right, and then it only goes up to a certain budget.
And however many days you want to put it.
That's right. That's right. So.
Just since we are there, is that similar like a minute-long video, or?
You know, it depends on how. Yes, 1 minute long. We did a hurricane remediation. That's how we, so we had clients that want to do YouTube, but I didn't dive into the insights. By the way, I want to give a class soon, next quarter, basically, on how to look at insights and how to use those in order to change your audience up, right? And how to see whether or not your ad's really having the right impact with the right people. So, but anyways, hurricane remediation, we really wanted to dive in and make sure it was reaching the right people, and just had fantastic results. So now we love YouTube. So, and it's big. I mean, it's owned by Google too, right? So As much as you can use YouTube and link all those clicks back to your website, Google likes that, and it helps with organic search and everything else. It's all this big mesh, right? Try and encourage our clients to do it all because it all ties together. But, okay, let's keep going. Kelly Wersler, now, this is awesome. We're going to hit the suggestions button.
So we've done a big chunk of the research already, but what this is doing is basically just telling us that we did it right, because you can see that a lot of these items are things that we already have on our list. And these might not all necessarily be things that you want to target, but you might find a couple more interests as you're going down your list and entering them in that you
like
can add to
Architectural
it.
Digest was on our list, so we
Right.
can click it.
Go ahead and do that.
Dwell is a magazine that we love. Didn't even think about that doing our research, so we'll click that. And we can watch our little meter over here changing too with our audience. Are we getting too broad or too specific? Where are we landing? So
We'll do HGTV too. Okay.
that didn't make us any less broad.
No, it's just,
HGTV.
I mean, as you add interest, it's just going to make your audience bigger, but there are other ways to narrow it down that we're going to do
right.
in just a moment. So,
Let's keep going. What were a couple of the other ones?
got
Crate and Barrel.
also with things like this, try using the and symbol. If that doesn't come up, try using the word and. Try make sure you're spelling it right, because as far as
50% of the time, it's in there,
Yeah.
right? What you're searching for, but it just may be spelled differently. I mean, like ASID, we couldn't use ASID. We had to use, the acronym didn't work, right? So,
okay.
all right, any suggestions for West Dome? We don't like West Dome. Fixer Upper. Everything is Fixer Upper, so.
Grab it too.
So you did Lux, remember we did Lux. Let's see what happens here.
There it is.
So guys, you guys just have fun with this. Just start, continue to add interest, continue to look at their suggestions, and continue to watch what's happening with your audience, right? So you can literally do this all day, Venn diagram.
Yeah.
So something in Lux showed up that we liked, right? Is that where Wayfair showed up? I saw Wayfair.
Let me try this.
Hey, look, it did it for us, American Society.
You know, we discovered Wayfair when we were building this audience in the office, but it might have just been a different order up here, and not all of these were on here, so I don't know that it's going to.
So that's the
come up
detailed
on its
targeting
own,
tab. So do we want to back up? There's Wayfair. Do we want to back up and do the rest of them now? Location and.
Well, Ivan, on that, what tells you at what point you're being too broad?
Well, just keep an eye on this.
Well, but yeah, it's going to be very broad right now, just because we have no
But we haven't
other
picked location yet.
criteria.
We haven't picked any other type of demographic yet. We're just throwing interest in there, so it will be pretty broad.
So
this will narrow down
normally-
quickly. If I dropped a pin at this office, which you can do, and just did 25 miles, that number's going to drop substantially,
But
right?
there's not, I guess a better question is, there's not a specific formula to
How much? How many
how
things?
much and where the inflection point is on that, because depending on who's liking and interested in what, it's going to be different every time. So
It will be, and that's why I encourage that research part in the beginning to see how many of these things overlap. Let's use those instead of just going straight to Ads Manager without doing any research and just starting to chug ideas in there. Because then, yes, it'll be very, very broad, very broad.
So you're looking at it from the mind of your consumer, of your audience, trying to guess where they.
That's right. Where do they live?
What they'd be
What do they
interested in.
think? That's right. So,
It can be tempting too.
what
when
do they
you're-
watch? What do they,
Right.
subscribe to? What websites do they go to? There's the
But there's all
pixels.
kinds of stuff we could still throw up there that these people would be interested in. We could go.
We could put 400 interests in here if we wanted to.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And it can be tempting to kind of go outside of your scope when you see all these suggestions and you're like, oh, that's probably in my audience. But when you can be as specific as we're being, you really want to be, because that's
Well,
going to be
so
how you
on
get
that,
results.
do we have to focus on anything to do with interior design in terms of interest? Or can you do kids' sports? Because they're, or whatever, right?
You absolutely can do that. That's right. You don't have to stay within the box, especially if it's a good idea. I mean, country music artists, we targeted Texas
Right,
colleges,
right.
right? So
And that leads into just testing your ads and seeing what works better.
that's right. So that's why you should always save these audiences, right? Which we'll do here in a second, right? We're not actually going to use this one to post the ad. We're going to use our custom. We already created one for this, but we'll be able to save this audience.
We
We'll
are
call it
saving it.
Duckworth too. We'll get there.
Okay,
We'll get
got
there.
it.
We're almost done.
Yeah.
So, So really ads aren't that hard, right? I mean, we had the detailed targeting first. Let's go back and do this. Locations. Locations are pretty simple. You can do zip codes. You can do cities. Do Houston. Let's do Houston and Austin. She's also in Austin.
So you just saw that meter is now on the left side instead of on the right side.
That's right.
Yeah,
so you
see
see the
how
meters?
it's right there in the middle.
That's right.
We were targeting 33 million people in the United States who like HGTV.
That's
That's a lot. So now we're targeting
dropping it down, dropping it down.
only 940,000 people.
That's right.
In Austin and Houston.
And you can change this radius up here. You can go from anywhere from 10 to 50 miles. You can drop a pin and do that same radius. You can,
And while
target a whole
I
state.
can't target for, I mean, one of the best ways to target for income level, right? I mean, you can target home value right now, but remember that should go away, right? In fact, show them the home value.
Hey, real quick on when you drop a pin, is that where they're at, or is that where they've been? Where is it getting that location from? Right?
So this location drop-down menu right here,
Let's do one. Let's drop one.
you can do everyone in this location, people who live, people who recently visited, people
People are happy to
traveling.
be traveling. That's right. So if we want to focus on live, right, we can do that. So,
Yeah, and I am going to do that.
okay.
But Corey Morrow example, you might have done people
Traveling.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
what's
just to
so
show
great
you the
about
home
this
value
is if you
too.
just go down the list, Facebook will walk you through it, but you have all these options. You have all these tools to really fine tune what you're trying to accomplish. Home value. Now I say this is going to go away. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure this is going to go away, right? And a lot of stuff will go away that we can target. This is great for you guys right now, though, right? I mean, if you're selling homes between 250 and 500,000.
It's saying we will be removing some detailed targeting options soon. So
That's right.
they
That's
are
right.
going to be removing.
So hurry up and get your ads out.
Great. Do it, timely.
And I think that's happening in August.
August
So,
14th. yeah.
August 14th. There you go. Anyway, so back to location. Go ahead and drop a pin and just let's draw.
Drop a pin over here.
Drop a pin right there. So literally, we can pick wherever we want.
Yeah, you could do it as small as like a neighborhood, community.
Zip codes are big too. We have a client in Houston that's a real high-end paint contractor. They don't want to kiss a bunch of frogs. They do not want to. We advertise and we post blogs, but they don't want everybody to see it. So literally, their blogs are only posted in River Oaks and Memorial and Bel Air and a couple neighborhoods in Clear Lake and up here in the Carlton Woods. That's it. That's it, right? So you can get very specific on who you want to target. Because otherwise their phone might start ringing and they don't want it to ring unless it's the right client. So it could be the same with us too. So, all right, so that's dropping a pin. But Houston, Austin's good. Age. If I'm a realtor, I'm probably going to ramp that age up a little bit, right? Just to the home buying age,
Discriminating.
Well, yes, it is. No, it's not. It's targeting. It's targeting. It's not discriminating.
Targeting, if you're 18, you actually can buy a house, so.
That's right. I'll look at it this way. I'm going to force these older people to watch my video.
There you go.
You know what I mean? The rest of them, I'm going to let them off the hook. So. All right. So what else? Connection type, languages. Yeah. Unless you're, if you're prepared to speak in multiple languages, then bring it on, right? So.
Yeah.
However, you will reach people in the other languages, So unless you're, habla español or sprechen Sie Deutsch or parlez-vous français? C'est bien écouté. So that's great. So that's language. You can target as well, which is great, especially if you have a bilingual, right? That's fantastic. Keep going. Connection type.
Yeah, and
Wanna make a
I
comment
just want
about
to point out too that if this number over here is still too big and it's still saying your audience is a little too broad after you've done this top portion, you can come back into your interest and adjust and see what may not be necessary or what you may not want to
That's
include
right.
or add more if it can be too defined. I've had that happen.
It's not about getting all the way down that specific dial. We're going to try and get specific and then test it.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Just make it smaller.
Did that work? So.
Okay, connection type.
I would argue that getting this video in front of the right 2,000 people and spending money on that, right, to ensure that I hit those 2,000 people is better than hoping I hit those 2,000 people by sending the video out to 2 million, right? May or may not hit them. So we'll see.
My mouse was on, it kept coming.
If you're spending a set amount of dollars, like you're spending $50 for an ad, back to kind of what you were saying earlier, where it's like if I'm doing interior design, I might want to do moms of children who play sports or something like that. Well, the percentage of moms whose children play sports who are also interested in interior design is going to be much smaller than if I just pick an interior design thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, you could pick the moms of kids who play soccer and throw that $50 at it, and you still might hit those people that are also interested in interior design, but you're also going to be throwing a lot of money at people who aren't. And so that's why we're saying to kind of keep it narrow. Other than picking that the wider
make
topics.
sure whatever you're posting is something that moms with kids that play soccer would.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what you were saying too, I guess I missed it, but on the location, right, it's just making it more closer in, right, to make it more narrow, right? So 10 miles versus 50.
Now, you may want a nationwide ad
Yeah.
and use other demographics, right? Like relocation services, people interested in moving services because you're looking for people relocating to the area, right? I mean, there's all kinds of, each ad could have its own audience, so.
Just a quick question about this too. When you create the audience, can you use it for boosting as well? Or
Yes.
You can.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
As long as you save it, which we're going to do. So. Yeah.
Connection type, what is that? There you go. You can also connect people who like your page, friends of people who like your page. You can exclude people who like your page. Now, why would you want to do that?
Because they already like your page.
They already like your page. That's right. So, back to the comment about excluding realtors, right? So, anyway, keep going because I want to save. And then you get to this point where you can save this audience, right? So let's save this. We'll save it as
I'll just do
Duckworth 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Saved.
So if you can target a boost, then what's the difference between an ad and
We weren't here for the first part of the.
Sorry, I'll ask later.
No, it's great. There is a difference because some of the factors, and I know Kylie can speak to this, because we used to just boost, and now we just do ads, right? With an ad, keep in mind, after the ad runs, you can still publish it to your page, right? So it's not just running somewhere else. But you can be specific as to what Facebook is charging you for. Mm-hmm. You can be specific to the type of engagement that you want to get. You can also tell Facebook what stats you're wanting to track in ads. And you can build your ad from the ground up, as opposed to posting it to your page and then trying to boost it. So, no problem.
Now, there is a way too, if you have a post on your page like already right now that you want to put into Ads Manager, there's a way to do that. So, yeah, there's just a lot more detail in Ads Manager that's useful. But.
All right, so let's finish this because we're at 1:13.
Yeah.
So, next you'll go down, and you can do automatic placements or edit placements. I suggest automatic, and so do they, recommended.
And if you have time, you can play around with placements, and it's just going to change, again, these numbers up here.
And it actually makes it'll make a big difference. Like, go down to...
let's take out Instagram.
Yeah, take out Instagram, yeah.
So it goes from 510,000, so it took out 80,000 people.
That's right, yep.
I'm going to do my chart real quick.
So how is the money allocated if you have all of these channels on which your ad is playing? Do you get more for less or for the same amount of figures in all?
The more specific you are, then you know that those dollars are being spent to reach a certain number of people, right? Okay, so the more specific you are, then those dollars are being spent to reach the people that you want to reach, right? As opposed to just being spread. It's the same amount of seed, your dollars, right? Are you dropping it all right here, or are you kind of spreading it all around? So, now, more dollars in a specific area, maybe we'll pay more for a link click, right? But it's the people that you want to be clicking the link, so.
It's worth more.
So a good budget, I don't know, we're going to boost this for, let's say we did $100, right?
Make sure you do lifetime budget and not daily budget.
That's right. Daily budget's going to keep going. That's right. That's
Unless you want to do a daily budget. You
That's
can
right.
set it up that way, but just make sure you know which one you're doing there.
And then we get to pick the schedule, when it starts and when it ends.
So we'll start it today. Schedule it for 1:30. Right now it's set to run for a month. We'll just do a week.
Is that a good sample, a week?
Facebook usually takes 1 to 2 days to kind of figure out how they're boosting to your, or how they're getting it to your audience, and it'll say like learning in progress or something on your ad. So a week allows it to do that, and then also get the results that you want.
There's some argument on the tail end of that you start getting less bang for your buck. So I did have a realtor tell me recently that they will take a video and boost it for $1,000, right, over the course of like a month. But there's a lot of dollars behind it. So his theory is that he'll run it for 3 or 4 days, right, get a bunch of engagement, and then turn it off, right? He says that works. So, but you have to remember to turn it off. So I'm not sure if that works or not. But if there is a bell curve, or a curve, it's not necessarily a bell curve, it's not equal, but if there is like this bunch of engagement initially, and then it starts to tail off, right? And I guess it would make sense to go and throw some money at it. Let Facebook know you're invested in this, right? Of course, then you get a bunch of, and then you shut it off and you don't spend all the money. So that's a sidebar.
Interesting point, yeah.
Yeah, I know. So
If everybody starts doing that though, then.
They're gonna catch
we'll
on.
see if
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
right. They'll catch us.
Yeah.
So
So I clicked show advanced options underneath the budget there. And the only really thing you need to worry about here is I always change when we get charged to per link click instead of impression. Impression is just when someone sees it. And it's not going to let me do that because you have to spend $10 in your ad account before it will let you do that.
That's right.
But
Wants to make sure you're gonna pay it back.
that's right. That's right.
and then we also always run our ads all the time, letting Facebook kind of optimize when our audience is on Facebook, as opposed to on a schedule. But again, depends on the industry and on the ad.
And then continue.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
So for realtors, what have you found works best, to advertise open houses, or for them to like the page, or call me, I can help you buy or sell a house? I mean, what is one ad that you think would be
So far, so good. You're nailing. You got 3 great ones there.
Well, I know, but
Yeah.
like-
So, I mean, what we've seen the most, if you write a blog and you get people that will start engaging with that blog, that's probably been our best engagement. Video obviously is the best engagement you can get. But the problem is the video has to look good. Otherwise, you'll have all these impressions. You're like, oh, you got 10,000 video views. But you showed up in an inbox, but people just scrolled right by it. They didn't watch it, But if it's engaging video, then you get people to click it and listen with the sound on. It's another thing we always measure. If they didn't listen with the sound on, we don't count it. All right, what do we? So yeah, it was playing, but they were reading the post above yours, So anyway, so I think those are good, but I like blog content quite a bit. Anything, you can actually, this is separate, but you can actually just try to get more likes on your page, right? So that's a good campaign to run.
Maybe through events, if you have an event.
Events, great. I'm just a big believer in all boats rise, right? So if my marketing activities are basically increasing the digital profile of our clients, then I think that makes a difference. The problem is you can't always measure what the end effect is, right? You can lead a horse to water. Hey, all these people are coming to the website, hey, but that doesn't necessarily equal sales, right? I mean, that's, let's do the best we can, right? So, but the thing with digital marketing now too is your competitors are doing it, right? So if your videos don't look good, and theirs do, right? Then guess what? If it comes down to a validation point where you're choosing one or the other, they're probably going to choose your competitor. So.
So at this point, if you don't have a page set up, this is probably where you would stop following along on your own computer. But you've already saved your audience, which is
And this is all very
so.
easy once you set up your page too.
Right. So this is my page that it's going to be posting to, and we are doing a video ad. You can also link an Instagram account. That's what this section is for, if you have one. And remember how I said earlier, if you have a post already on your page, you have the use existing post option up here that you can use.
I'm sorry, where was the use existing post?
If you scroll all the way up, right under the ad name, you can either create an ad or use an existing
Oh, okay,
post.
got it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I already have this video on here, so we're just going to select it.
Load it up or upload it there if you haven't. So.
You can do captions, you can create a thumbnail, you can do all kinds of stuff, but that's specific to a video, so it just depends on what ad you're running.
Link the URL if we want to,
Yeah, and we are linking a URL, so we're gonna do her contact
Contact page.
page.
So this is the URL that they would click after they watch the video to hopefully contact them about interior design.
Okay, is there a way, let's say somebody can land on your webpage, but never request any information, contact or never contact you? Is there a way to capture who's landing on your website, whether they send you an email or not?
You can.
Yes.
Yep.
So whenever you create the ad in your insights, which is going to be like your statistics for how your ad performed, it will say link clicks. So this is how many people watched the video and were engaged enough to click the link.
Okay.
And then that's going to be however many people landed on your website.
But when you click that, what does it show you all the people?
I wanna know that you did that you're the one that went to my website, so
No.
I can.
It does that for
contact-
likes.
I can contact you.
Got it.
Mhm.
That's a pixel.
It doesn't give
Pixel.
you that ability.
Google Analytics though, right?
Yeah.
You can see that.
Yeah, on
Yeah, you can
website.
see everybody that landed on the site, every single person. Yep. Through Google Analytics.
Yeah.
You can see, you can actually per page too, like who landed on what page, so you can tell which one of your landing pages was
So
the
will I
best.
have a way to contact them back?
I think you can just
It's a
use
stormy
them
question.
to,
Yeah.
Right, it's like, if you landed on my webpage,
Mhm.
okay, great, but if you didn't do anything, I lost you, okay? So is there a way?
Not true, because we're going to create your webpage, and our call to action is going to be so compelling that they're going to click.
but if they don't, you are able to market to them again.
How?
But that's through either Google Analytics or also a Facebook pixel, which is like installed on your website, and it's like a whole nother class that we
It's a
hope to do
code.
soon.
Is
But
there out there a software that will capture your email address or something about you that I can get back to you?
You do a lead capture on that link. So from Facebook, when they click on it, you set it up to where they have to give you a name and email before they get to your site.
What he's saying.
But that's another
Good episode.
strategy. If you want them just to go to your
But,
site,
yeah.
sometimes they'll click it and they'll see they gotta put their email in and they don't.
That happens a lot. That happens to me a lot. And maybe I would have stayed, right? So that's a slippery slope, right?
Because I don't want to-
Maybe I would have stayed and bounced around and found some other videos or found some other like, oh, I like, but you know. So, but you can put a Facebook pixel, which actually tracks all the information, because that's how Facebook gets its information. We need one of our web developers here to answer that question, because I put my foot in my mouth.
We
So,
personally usually do a lead capture on it to get, if we can, let's say we have 100 people that might have gone to the website and now only 10 of them will actually go through and put their email in. We'd much rather have those 10 because the nationwide average on a lead conversion that people go into a realtor's website is like 3.5%.
that's right.
So it's super low, so having them
3
put it on
times
our
more
site
likely
is-
if you do it.
Of course, it's a goal because we want them to interact with, like, seeing us, but we're not necessarily getting any clients off of that. It's more of a branding thing than anything.
I would recommend that the lead capture is just very little information. Name and email, and that's it. Let them through.
Yeah.
You know, when you get to like the 4th or 5th question, sometimes I'm like, oh, God, I'm done. I'm done. So,
okay, so everything I've entered here, I just did a little caption. It's a quote from the video. I entered the URL that I want them to click through to. I entered the headline, which is basically just the name of the video.
Is that just the contact us page, which normally isn't as pretty as like the home
You can
page of
send
the
them wherever you
website?
Right,
want.
yeah, but I could send them to the homepage.
Okay, just because if they do interiors, that might be prettier.
Right,
than
no, that's,
landing on
yeah,
the
that's a
main
good point.
website.
And then you can also select your call to action button, so that'll depend on what your goal is. We're gonna do the contact us button. And you'll see the preview of
that's
the
what's
ad
eliciting
over
the click,
here.
right? So,
It automatically shows you the mobile news feed just because that's where most people are gonna see it. But if you wanted to look through all the different ways people might be viewing it, you can do that, make sure it looks nice.
keep in mind, we're just scratching the surface of what you can do in Ads Manager, right? It's just, but what's great is Facebook walks you through it. So,
Yeah. And I'm gonna go ahead and confirm. Also, you'll have to enter your credit card information, which I've already done, but yeah. So see, right now it's uploading, and then Facebook will tell you when it's done, and then when it's reviewed, and then whenever it's published on your page. And then your stats will start coming
So will you let us
in.
know on the results of this?
so here's what we thought about. I would love to, because the part of Facebook that I'm love and passionate about is looking at insights and looking at results. And so I would love to have a class where we do that, right? Because there's all kinds of stuff you can dive into. If we do that class, what we'll do in advance is we'll push out a video. So we're working on the community video for Keller Williams right now,
Right.
which is going to be awesome because Keller Williams is absolutely more involved in the community than anybody else, right? So, so we're going to boost that out internally and externally, and we'll be able to look at those results. So maybe a month before that class, we release the video.
That would be cool.
Let it
right?
run, then we can look at the stats. So,
That would be cool.
When we allocate a lifetime budget, say $100,
mhm.
that is going towards answering the question, which is getting your ad out to your targeted audience. But you find that there isn't, maybe the targeted audience that you have is not good enough. So there are two things at work here. One is either you go in and retarget, make it narrower, or there is some kind of optimization or learning that Facebook is doing. So if I were to increase the budget, what am I increasing my budget for if I'm doing some of the retargeting myself? Does that help with optimizing your learning algorithm on Facebook, or
If
should
I-
go from
if-
$5 to $20 a day, or just leave it alone but retarget?
I get it, yeah. I think the budget part, and you guys can correct me, more than anything else is just affecting the potential reach.
Mhm.
That's it.
It's
So-
affecting the volume of users that it's going to put that in front of. So it's not.
Before I'd increase the budget, I would change the target audience.
Sure.
I would do more research and then try it again.
Sure.
So,
But then if I find that hasn't really, made a dent, and I decide, okay, I'm going to, up the budget,
Mhm.
either daily or over a period of time, then what am I paying for at that point?
You're paying for the ad to be put in front of more people. So what you're going to want to look at is see there it says cost per result.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going to look. So if my cost per result is 30 cents, then I need to go back and check my targeting. But more importantly, I need to go check my caption and whatever I've put in front of the viewer. So
the content is the most important
content
piece.
is very
Yeah.
important when it comes to cost per result. Because if something is more engaging and someone is more likely to click that link, that cost per result is going to go down because it didn't have to put the ad in front of a ton of people to get a lot of link clicks. It only had to put the ad in front of 20 people and it got 15 link clicks because they just couldn't not click the link.
So if I have a conversion ad, then I would look at the cost per conversion.
Right. So I'm gonna look at the cost per result right there, and if it's not good, I might think, okay, well maybe I need to take some better pictures, or I need to just. A lot of the times it's just changing that caption
To make it more
appealing,
enticing, yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Right. So clickbait. Exactly.
Yeah, clickbait, there we go.
Without looking like clickbait, though.
Exactly.
Campaigns,
Mhm.
what would you say the minimum amount of money and length you want to get some sort of solid feedback to decide
If it was,
wording is working or not working, like if you don't spend enough money, then that could have been the problem.
that could have been the problem.
So like what's kind of the minimum do you suggest for testing?
I don't.
What do we spend in our budget now, just for
It-
different blogs and things that we posted?
It depends. Like the video we filmed yesterday, we're spending $150.
So,
And we've done that and gotten really good reach, right?
Really good reach, yeah. But part of that is because the reach that we've gotten is specifically to the Trek list. That's our
Yeah,
custom
okay,
audience.
right, right.
So
It's
on
very
this one, we're
targeted.
also going to have it, because I'm talking about the market update. So the market update, it used to never get boosted. It was just created just for the internal purposes.
And that is the video that we do monthly, that is James and Nicole talking about what happened in the market.
So that was basically just for internal. So there wasn't a whole lot of interaction. Then we started boosting it to the Trek list and got all this engagement. That's great. But it's just to agents. And if you watch the content, it's like the content would be something that maybe I would be interested in. So I looked at a bunch of them. Who's the guy that films himself with an iPhone?
Our agent?
No, it's another brokerage.
Oh, Ken?
Ken, is that it?
All city guy.
Maybe so. We've watched several of them. And now I put myself, because it's easy, because I'm outside of the industry, I put myself outside the industry and I watch these things and I'm like, nah. 3 seconds in, if it doesn't look good, I'm done. And I have a really good attention span. What was I talking about? But 3 seconds, I'm done, literally. If it has to be good, it has to look good, right? Otherwise you're only going to reach people that know you or are trying, right? So if we're trying to go outside just let's establish Keller Williams as a go-to resource for information about the market, right? Then it has to look good. So we'll make it look good. But we also want to, in this month, we're pushing it outside
Of that
That's right. We're actually targeting demographics here also because they're great videos. I've looked compared to everybody else's, and everybody else's is terrible.
Yeah, like if you look at
So,
Ken Brand's video.
that's
and
wrong
then
for me to
look at
say
ours,
that. They're not
like,
terrible.
Sorry.
It could be a client tomorrow. So
Okay.
everybody else's is great. Ours is just greater.
Ours is
Okay,
greater.
so yeah, I want to make
But, you
sure
know,
that.
it's really not any different than if you're taking photos for horror and you're using your iPhone and putting them
Absolutely.
up and they don't look good, you know, versus using a professional photographer and having good quality images. It's the same thing. People look at the pictures of the bad pictures, and those houses sit for a lot longer than a well photographed home.
So the question was about the dollars, though.
Well, I guess my question is more when you're just kind of starting out with this broad audience, like you don't have Keller Williams that you've already.
That's right,
down,
that's right.
So you're just
You're trying to
get
go
a feel
outside.
For, all right, what's kind of starting to work, what's not, I guess what's the kind of the minimum to get good enough data?
I think it depends on the post and what you're trying to accomplish. But I know for us, I mean, when we start blogs with clients, and we're always in that initial phase, like, trust me, blogs are good. And they're like, I don't know. All right, so we start at like $25 a blog, right?
Yeah.
25 bucks.
That's what we did last year.
And every video we do at least 100 because it's going to get good engagement as long as it's a good video. Now it's a shame when you make a video and you have 5,000 views, but you go look and it's an average of like 4 seconds a view. In other words, people are just scrolling right past. So you have to watch out for those things. But
So you were saying $25 lifetime for at least 7 days?
Well, just to test it, right?
just to test it, that's right. Just
Yeah,
to
you
see
could
if
do
this is
4 or
working.
5 days.
Right? Do I need to adjust my
For
audience, or
25.
more importantly, like Kaysen has gotten such amazing bang for the buck just by changing the posts. Sometimes changing the picture, sometimes just changing just the caption at the top. So
I've always said when I go to write blogs, I spend 30% of my time writing the blog and 70% of my time picking the caption, picking the photo, and picking the title.
Well,
That doesn't mean that I write not good blogs. It just
yeah, he's
means
wicked
that
smart.
Those
So
are the things that I'm going to focus on.
for an Aggie,
Is
it's pretty.
a lot of times when I come up for a topic for a blog, I've thought of the title already. Like that's how I chose the topic for the blog, because that's what people are going to.
There's a lot of noise to cut through. So, but I would start with 25. So, it's a minimal amount of money, but it'll give you enough data. I mean, $5, you're not going to get enough data to work with. So, all right. So here's the thing. We got your names on the sign-in sheet, where that's at. We're going to send you several things and some other resources that could possibly be helpful, as well as Chris is going to put together not much of my talking head, but all of this with us talking over it, right? So you guys can go through the process again in case you missed anything. So.
can we add into another?